I'm gonna sneeze. Oh. Oh. I'm sorry, my hay fever is absolutely murdering me again. Oh dear. Hey guys, it's Fiona from Eventide Reads, and today I'm here to do my June wrap-up. I don't normally do wrap-up videos because I only read a few books and tend to review most of them, but I read a lot of books in June, like a lot of books. So I thought I would just do a wrap-up because a lot of these I probably won't get around to reviewing in full. Some of them I already have, and one or two I do intend to review. So yay! Let's get started on that. Now the first full book I started and finished in June was a Remix by Non Pratt. Now Non Pratt is the author of the YA Book Prize shortlisted Trouble, which I did not enjoy, so I had low expectations going into this. But it is a book set at a festival, and I love music in books. I don't know what it is, but there's just something about it that I really, really crave. And this book was so good. It's pretty dark in places, pretty, not messed up, but there were times you were a bit like, ooh. But that's what made it really real, and the characters were great. It was a great story. So if you're like slightly mature teenager and you want something with a little bit more of a kick to it, this is the one. I gave this 4.5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was Naomi and Eli's No Kiss List by Rachel Cohen and David Levithan. Now this one's probably not one of my favourite ones. I gave this 3 stars. It was okay. It was just a bit short and a bit flat. I don't know, there was just something missing to it. But I mean, it was a quick read. I read it in like less than 2 days. It was alright. Sorry I'm not going into like super detail with these, but there are like 12 books I read, so it's gonna be a long video. The next book I read was Way Down Dark by J.P. Smythe. I have reviewed this book already, so I won't go into too much detail here. It's a really fast-paced, quite dark, gripping, sci-fi, almost dystopian-esque story. I have reviewed it and I will leave a link down below. Next is Sarah Dessin, Saint Anything. I do love Sarah Dessin. Strong books. I've liked all of them. I gave this 4 stars. I feel like this one was a little bit darker, a little bit heavier than some of her other books, but I think I enjoyed it just as much. It felt a bit more realistic and a little bit gritty in times. But it was just really well done, and I really liked it. Next book I read was supposed to be Simon. Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. I have no idea, I think that's how you say it. This is a book I got absolutely ages ago, and I put it off and put it off and put it off, and I don't know why. And then I finished a book at work and had not brought a spare book with me to start. Luckily there was a spare copy of this at work, so I picked that up and finally read it. Absolutely loved it. Gave it 4.5 stars. It was so funny, so quirky, great LGBT. It was just a really good contemporary, perfect for the summertime. It was just, I love it. It's so good. Then I read the Potion Diaries by Amy Alwood. Again, I have reviewed this book. I will leave a link down below and you can check that out. It is a clean teen fantasy romance aimed at about 11 plus. I'm 26 and I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars. So it's got a pretty wide audience. If you want something just clean, simple, fantasy based, it's not too heavy, just something light and summery, this is your man. And it also has a princess who falls in love with herself, her own reflection, and it's hilarious. I love it. The next book I read is a graphic novel, and that is Nimona by Noelle Stevenson. I'd come across Noelle before because she has illustrated Fangirl, the front of Fangirl, and I really love her illustrations. I think I saw someone else on YouTube haul this, and I was like, ooh, that looks interesting. So I looked it up and was like, oh, it's the same illustrator as the Fangirl covers, awesome. And I ended up ordering it in for myself, and I really enjoyed it. It's just really simple panels and just but there are times when it's so good. It deals with relationship issues, it deals with fantasy things and, you know, crazy shit happening, and I loved it. I gave it 4.5 stars out of 5. It's just really damn fun. I do intend to try and do a full review of Nimona. Next book I read after Nimona was The Last Summer of Us by Maggie Harcourt. I was a little bit disappointed in this book. It's supposed to be like a UK road trip, and I was like, brilliant. I've really enjoyed road trip books that I've read, but they've all been set in America. The only problem was they didn't go very far, and I felt like they were just talking in circles, and the main character really annoyed me. So I only gave it 3 stars. It was okay, and the last sort of like 100 pages were quite interesting, but the rest of the book was boring. It's just one of those things. It wasn't what I expected it to be, I guess. The next book I read was End of Days by Susan E. This is the final book in the Penryn and whatever it's called. Penryn and the End of the World series, or the Angel Fall series, whatever you want to call it. This was a pretty good series ending. I do intend to do a series review because it's one of the few Angel series I really enjoy. And at some point in the future, I'd like to reread them back to back because I think I would enjoy them even more. So there you go. I gave this 4 stars. I then read This Is Not a Love Story by Karen David. Never read any of Karen's work before, and this is a sort of love story, but sort of family story, sort of issues. There was something magical about this being set in Amsterdam. I don't know what it was, but it made me really like this book, and the way it dealt with the relationships and the issues, and I really enjoyed the way it ended because it was a bit different from what I was expecting it to be, and I really appreciated that. It's just a really good book. I'm hoping to review this at some point, but I might just have to do like a little contemporary short reviews or something because I got too many. I gave this 4 stars also. I then read another contemporary. I read My Life Next Door by Huntley Fitzpatrick. This is a very summer contemporary romance. It deals with some darker issues, and it has some unsavory characters. The main character you sort of agree with a lot. So it was quite nice. It was a really quick, fast-paced read, quite enjoyable. Like I said, summer contemporary. It's just what I wanted this time of year. So I gave this 4 stars. And the last book I read in June was The Lost and the Found by Kat Clark. This is about a little girl who's abducted, and 13 years later she reappears, and it's about how they deal with her reappearing and how she's changed and how they've changed as a family, and It deals with a lot of relationships, a lot of issues. It gets quite dark again, but it was a really interesting story and really different from anything I've read, because it's told from the sister's point of view, not from the person who's been kidnapped's point of view. And I just found that to be really refreshing and something really interesting, because I know there are a few books about abduction out there for teens, but they all tend to be from the person who's abducted's point of view, and I just thought this was a little bit different, and I don't know, it was just really interesting. I also gave this 4 stars. So as you may be able to tell, I had a fairly good month of books, most of them 4 and above stars, a couple of 3s in there, but nothing I absolutely hated. Yes! I hope you guys enjoy my little wrap up today. Hopefully I will review some more of these in full or do a series of short reviews, because I think some of them do warrant it, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!